How are you going to get your money back? See, with private mortgages, something key to remember is that different than bank mortgages, private mortgages typically charge interest only, which means if I lend you $100,000 today and I charge you $10,000 in interest, 10%, you will pay 1/12 of the $10,000 each month for 12 months. And then at the end of the 12 months, you will still owe me $100,000. Getting it back is something else. And everything that happens in between has everything to do with the borrower's ability to meet their obligations. So we have to look first and foremost at their circumstances. So it doesn't take, here's the good news, it does not take rocket science to figure out whether a borrower is likely to be able to make the payments. You can look at now the bank has very rigid guidelines for this. The bank will say, listen, the total of the mortgage payment, the heat, and the property taxes can only represent X percentage of your total gross income. And then when you add in other debts, it can go up a little bit, but not very much. That's essentially the formula that the bank uses. Now, in private, you don't have those formulas, but we can still kind of get a sense for whether this makes sense or not. Is it viable? So when we look at it and we say, well, okay, how do you make money? Now, in private, we have a much wider range of acceptable forms of income than they do at the bank. Bank wants to see very provable, income where, self-employed people who are maybe in transient positions where they're working in one job in the winter and one in the summer or something different, or they have multiple streams of income, you can take a common sense approach, right? Now, we want to see support to back up that the income that we're being told is actually real, but that's to your discretion. But you want to see income. You also want to look at credit, but what are we looking for in the credit? We're not just looking at the score. We're not just looking at, if somebody, let's imagine that somebody was doing really well, was able to make a 20% down payment on their property and get into that equity position where, they had to save for years to get into the housing market, and then something happened. Usually on a credit bureau, you can see that in a period of time, something changed.